We're here chatting with Trenny and Sid about tonight's gallery and also the gallery that we had last night, just talking about the great experiences and the great healing that people received tonight. And I think that each person truly walked away with what their intention of coming to this was. And I think there were a couple of people here that weren't really sure of what they were going to experience and really walked away with a great sense of peace. So I am going to ask Trenny just kind of how she got started in mediumship and the spirituality behind it and what provoked her to go down this path. What was it that made you connect with
mediumship?
Yeah, mediumship.
It started in '93 when, I mean, there was psychic stuff always, and I think that's always kind of there. Dreams of people passing away, and it happens. Just, you think as a kid when it's going up that it's normal until somebody tells you that it's not,
right?
You know, so you don't realize that actually it was a gift. But the mediumship stuff started when my brother passed away, and that, he died when I was 20, and when I was 10, I had my first dream that he died. And then I'd have him like every 6 months, and it would be so real that I would wake up and run into his room and climb into bed with him. And you know, older brother, he's like, get out. And I would just, that was in the 80s, so it was water beds, you know.
Oh,
so yeah, right. So
yeah.
He would literally be like, you can stay here. But then he would take like a line of socks or tape or something, and he would give me like a foot of the bed. And he'd say, you can stay, but you gotta stay right here. So I would stay there because I'd just be sobbing. Because I'm like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Yeah, it was so real. That went on for 10 years, and then he died. And then I never had another one again.
Really?
Yeah, but then the night that he died, we didn't know he was dead because this was in a very rural Colorado, in the southeast corner, which is farm town. It's up mountains down there. And he had passed away, but we didn't know it. And he came to me that night in the middle of the night and said, I was awake. I sat up and I said, what are you doing here? And he said, I just came to say goodbye to you. I'm going home. And so I was like, I knew what he meant, like I didn't even hesitate. And I said, can I go with you? And he said, no. And he went to the door and he laughed at me and he said, you've got a lot of work to do here. And he left. And it would be 2 hours later, the coroner called him and somebody had seen his body and they called him to report it and tell us and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. That's kind of what started that is actually what started that kind of started the whole thing. And at first it was a very fearful thing because your emotions are so amplified. And I was talking to some people after the show tonight about that too, because she kept creating negative experiences for herself every time she opened up. When you go into something and you're in a state of grief, a state of anger, a state of depression, your vibration is so low that if you do open up, you're going to attract those negative experiences to yourself. And so I think it's very important not to open up when you're in that state, because then you will start creating those things, and you'll create, if you're projecting fear, you're going to create fear and attract fear. And that's when your telekinesis and your kinetic energy starts, that's when you start seeing objects move all over the place and all this stuff, because it's so strong, it can manipulate your physical environment.
And I have to say that is one thing that I have truly learned from the both of you. Because as you're saying, when I was little, and it could be crazy, but I think that kids are in tune to things, and it's a fear.
Yeah.
You know, fear holds us back from so much, but it is tuning into it. And if you are in that place, it's kind of how we look at things. If you resonate positivity, I was a pessimist for the longest time, but we have to be an optimist. Like, I have to look at the good, and you know, you have to say those things and resonate those things and bring it in, because you will, you know, capture that negative vibe. And I think that's what a lot of people think about when they think about mediumship, and they don't really look at the spirituality part of it.
Well, it's because what they're taught is their culture. But also, to think of your friends, male or female, that always dated the wrong type of person. You know, and you look at, they drew that person to them. After a while, you start to see how they, because of their negativity or because of they bring in those bad relationships.
Yeah, like when you have a child that has bad friends, the parents tend to blame this on the friends. And I have a child that always hung out with sketchy characters, and I'm like, it's not them, it's you. There is something in alignment with you that is attracting this experience to you, and when you fix it, your circle around you will reflect that. And so you can always tell when your child's in a bad spot because of the people that they're surrounding themselves with. It's not those people that got them in a bad spot. They attracted it to begin with. And it's the same thing with spiritual energies. When you go to something fearful or something in that spot, you're going to attract these energies around you, and they can be frightening. And so you know, it's very, you have to have your mindset correct to do it. And I think too, something else is Hollywood. I mean, holy cow. And you know, a lot of people may not agree with what I'm about to say, but some will. But organized religion has really scared the pants off people. And so that's another thing. And I'd say humans' interpretation of what a religion actually is supposed to be. Because I'm like, how many of those were organized by man, not God?
Right.
And so there's that too. So when you look at that, and then you also look at movies in Hollywood, and you know, people are so afraid of Ouija boards, so afraid of a piece of cardboard that's mass produced by the hundreds of thousands, if not the millions, you know, because you could take right, you know, that's I tell people, I'm like, it's just a board. The power comes through the users. It has nothing to do with the board, you know. Like I could draw on a piece of paper, the symbols, and we could use a piece of paper. So I get asked about that all the time, you know. So there's a lot of reasons why people are,
The fear is part of marketing here, because the guy that makes the cliches are the same one that makes them for the talking bars in England. Just when he doesn't hear, he stamps Satan on them, because it's what sells.
Yeah,
it's what sells. It's a marketing.
It's marketing, and then what does it do? It puts people in that mindset, so they start creating and
Negative.
attracting negative experiences. So but then the board gets blamed, and so. You know, there's a lot of that, but yeah, I mean, definitely, people think some crazy stuff. I mean, we've been asked some nutty stuff.
Remember the client we had that the pastor told that his kid was going to die if he came to see us?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had one.
And that's such a fear-based a mechanism of control to tell someone that, you know.
As well, they come through together. They stayed married, correct, until one of them. Okay. Yeah, right. And she, like I said, she will not allow herself to age, which tells me that she might have been very stuck on the way that she looked. Okay, and so she's coming through quite beautiful. She says month of May, I think, is important. Okay, because she keeps talking about the month of May, and it's not Mother's Day; it's something around Mother's Day that she keeps referencing. And she says, "You'll get it. I think somebody died in May, is what this is." Okay, and then we also have the military coming through here as well. Is that your father's side? Yeah. Okay, because I do see that there's more than one man in that family that is military. Okay, and your dad was one of them, but then there's others. Does he have brothers too?
Yes.
Okay, and they're deceased as well, correct? Because there's a whole line of these people coming in right there. Okay, she also says you've been very stressed out. She gives you big, big, big healing hugs.
You want to help her with that.
Okay.
So you have kids? You know that they love you, but they're afraid of you because you know everything, because you're very intuitive, aren't you? She's got energy popping right over her crown, really heavy. So that usually means you're very intuitive. You can do what we're doing real easily. You just means like you know what your kids are up to when they don't tell you. So yeah, pay attention to your gut feelings and all the right. Make sure about it. Also, too, when I see him, he talks about you not just at work, but he said that you're cleaning out things. If you see the brushing, you show me the room going back and forth. That's just telling me that this is the time that you need to get rid of what's not working, so new grass can grow. A lot of people have held you down. A lot of things and situations have held you down, but it's time to let new things grow.
And it's ironic that we're talking about this now, because I see people and you can tell that there's some hesitation when they come and sit down, if it's their first time, or they might have come with a group of friends. They were, we're going to go with the girls and we're going to sit back, and they really want to be a part of it, but are not really quite open to it yet. And it's really foretelling to just see how in the 2 hours, how they open up.
Because you walk into these and you can literally feel like there's no oxygen in the room because nobody's breathing, and they've all And then by the end of it, it's relaxation.
Yeah, and we get them
Happy,
laughing
let it
because
go.
that's why we do believe in giving them some laughter versus the mourning all the time, because the laughter brings in the connectivity.
Sometimes you have to let them cry because
Yes, you
they
do.
need to, but it's also any of that releases that stagnant energy
Yes.
because you're always going to have one or two that come in and they're just shut down and locked up, and then that's contagious. It's contagious because then it lowers the vibration of the whole room, and so it's.
I mean, we've experienced
Yeah,
that.
right. So if you can get them laughing, crying, doing something to express any emotion, it's going to release that block for everybody.
You got male energy all over her. Male energy. Male energy. All over you.
Shoot wishes.
Yes, I understand that.
More laughter tonight than last night.
Right.
There were some funny stories, and I think people reminiscing about loved ones, and also maybe about some funny readings
Yes,
in the
absolutely.
past. Some things that.
Drawers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
drawers and the
Not
perhaps
drawers.
some slightly
Drawers.
promiscuous advice from a grandmother.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't remember at all, but
Yeah.
that's all right. We don't remember a lot of what we say.
But I do
So-
think you can tell the difference in the room when people
Right.
are reminiscing about the loved ones
Yeah.
and basking in that and enjoying that connection rather than really grieving and being upset. And
Right.
so,
I like the word you use, reminiscing, because that's what it's really all about. That's part of what makes people heal, is being able to express the way they feel about certain things. So that's one of the best things I think that we do, is we help people reminisce about their past and realize that, hey, this is just part of life. This is just like waking up every day. It's part of life, and it's something that we all should learn to honor rather than be fearful of it. But we have so many cultures that use it as a fear-based tactic, because just as birth is beautiful, so is death. Some religions actually
It's celebrated. even
celebrate
more.
that. Yeah, celebrate death even more.
It was really enlightening. It was like, kind of makes you realize that there is stuff that goes on after, the shell of a body goes away. I mean, it was great. It was good to connect with someone that I kind of thought that I had lost.
This whole year has been such a crap show, and with the isolation that everybody's been feeling, and I think connections are the key to so much as far as maybe suicide, depression, violence, homicide. People are disconnected, and so I think that's why we're seeing such an increase in this, which is why our work is so important right now, because people can't do this anymore. We can't physically connect with other humans, and it's so important now that we're providing these connections to the other people, because people are shut in here, and it's we've lost those connections. So it's so important that I think we provide this when we can't provide just going out to dinner as a normal family, a normal group of friends. We can't do that anymore. So, and we don't know when this is coming back. This has unfortunately become normal. So some form of connection is so important.
So tonight was my first medium session, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. They hit right on with my dad and my brother. They mentioned my daughters. They mentioned my brother and my dad fishing, and that was all the validation that I needed. And that my brothers had come to me in a dream, and when I told other people, they were like, "What?" And I said, "I'm telling you, he came to me in a dream." And he's like, my brother was like, "Right on, I did come to you," So that was really good. I think it gives me a sense of peace. I knew they were okay, but now I know that that they're together, and that makes me feel really good.
sometimes it seems like you're both in tune to the exact same thing, and other times it almost seems like you're looking at it from two different angles.
Totally. They are.
So you're either able to come back and solidify, like, yes, I'm getting that too, or you'll be able to give additional information, which I think is nice, the way that you both provide those different sides of things. And said, I know you mentioned last night to the group that your strength is a little bit more in the future, and when you were learning and being trained yourself, that you had found that you saw something that then happened 3 days later, and Trenny, do you think that you have a strength one way or the other, or?
Oh boy.
I think your
That's a
clairaudience
very
is probably
good-
what I would
Yeah, my clairaudience is very
Because
strong.
clairaudience is actually the one clair, which we call clairs, that most mediums would love to have and don't. There's very few truly. That's the one clair that's the weakest amongst most of the medium world. And Trenny's blessed to have tapped into that clairaudience. I mean, we all hear stuff, but not to the clarity that Trenny hears it.
I think that totally is something that's like trying to teach a dog how to bark if they're not a dog. And so the fact that I feel like Spirit just taught that to me was just a blessing, because I didn't have at that point access to knowing I could take mediumship classes. I mean, that was a long time ago. And so just I guess kind of starting into the process, because I remember telling them, just teach me how to hear you, teach me.
And deliver the message.
And they did. And so that's where all of it came from, was just teach me.
Thank you so much. It's been great having you here, and we're looking forward to
Many more.
week after next also.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the date on that?
We have the
19th,
20th?
20th and
No,
21st.
20th and 21st. And
21st.
be on the lookout for some different events that we're kind of collaborating on, that are going to be really neat and very warm and a good feeling for everybody.
I think everybody needs feel-good stuff right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think.
And it's just, I mean, so much turmoil. And so I think it's,
Well, I know that this has been.
let's bring some peace and some happiness.
Absolutely. So check out our website, check out our Eventbrite, check out their personal pages, schedule an appointment or come to a gallery. I promise you will
It's
not
a great
regret
way
it.
for people to get their feet wet.
It's
too,
a
because-
great introduction.
I
Right,
always
it
tell people, come to
is,
gallery
because you're not
first.
going to come in and we're not going to zero in on you for an hour and a half where you're like, oh my God.
No, but I
You
do.
know, it is,
and
it's
I
a
think
safe
that
place to do it.
it's also the fear. This is a way for you to come and make it a night with people you care about. That there is no judgment.
One thing I want to end on, in every field, because that was kind of brought up tonight a little bit. In every field, you have good and bad. And so,
So it's life, right?
yeah, that's part of life. And that's why I tell people, don't judge us till you come visit us. Till you get to experience us as a whole and see the spiritual people that we are. Till you really can look at, our character, our ethics. Our ethics are impeccable. So, I mean, don't judge. Come as a guest, sit in the back. We're gonna probably pick on you a little if you sit in the back. She does. She zeroes right in on those. And but come get the light side of it. And then if you want something more, you can. If you don't have to.
No, and I do, and it's breaking that pattern of thinking of just like Hollywood, what it is. You right?
Yeah.
Am I going to win lotto? I mean, where do you see me? What are some of the most? It's not asking questions. Who can? They're not fortune tellers. They're.
If we could predict
You
the
get
lottery,
luck.
we would not be here reading you.
No, I
Nor
know.
would I share it.
Right, no, right, exactly. So it's like,
Yeah.
if we could pick the lotto numbers for you, we wouldn't be here. So
I don't know what
I
else
hope
lies.
the audience out there comes and joins us
absolutely.
here and comes and experiences the things, that we provide, and hopefully they'll enjoy us. And
No, I would definitely tap into both of their personal websites and research. They are a lot alike, but they are very, very,
we
very,
read very
very
differently.
differently. They are like what I like to say in business with my group, like Ashley and Rena and Jessica, it's the yin and yang, and they're definitely the yin and yang.
That's why we work so well together.